Hi, in this development log, I'm going to evaluate the progress of my grounded inspired project, focusing specifically on how, the layout and assets have developed up to my 11th scene. Um, and overall, the project's still evolving and will likely change based on the assets, accessibility, and timeline constraints. So for my first scene, I set up the foundation using a landscape and modular walls from Fab. Um, while I initially planned to use mossy, like a rocky wall castle, the peer feedback from Alex basically said just use a dirt wall instead, which was good because it changed the theme and it fit the garden theme better, and it kept the path structured a bit better as well. Um, then afterwards, I integrated a yellow toy train track, which guides the camera a little bit nicer, so it can just follow a nicer path. Scenes 2 and 3 basically focused entirely on like establishing the shrunken perspective. I placed two massive lamppost-sized pencils, scaled up the tree. I added a giant like rubber ducky in a water puddle. I considered changing the duck to a toy boat, but my peers advised sticking with the duck to keep the scene like iconic. In the next scene, I swapped the initial padlock asset like for a dropped key, um, poking out of the ground. I really liked like this improvement because like the camera, it guides the camera through the little loophole. For scenes basically 4 and 5, I introduced like a tighter movement around complex obstacles. I added a rusty sickle so that the camera could go through it. And then for the I added a rusty sickle, and then I used a custom rust material to solve the texture inconsistencies with the severed nails. Basically the nails weren't didn't have a texture on them, so I had to add them afterwards. Scenes like 6 and 7, I had to use like enclosed objects to frame the atmosphere. I added like a horseshoe, and like I manually rotated like the pointy sticks to make them look like they've been placed by like someone who was there originally. Um, but yeah, afterwards this would lead to like me adding a hollow wooden crate where the sun rays like shine really nicely through the gaps. And yeah, I would say for scene 8 and 9, I wanted to basically just add a like a boot mark. So I went into Fab, got a PNG, and then I basically I used a custom shoe print PNG alpha and channel out the carve. I channeled to carve out like a water-filled boot crater. Um, I did have plants in there originally. I had to cut them out due to performance drops, and then I added a straw asset. Um, and then I added like walking boots, keys, kids tricycle, metal slides. So just like little assets to make them look a little bit nicer, keep the theme that I was going for. And then for scenes 10 and 11, I focused on a deep environmental storytelling. I populated like the area with like a bucket, a teddy bear, plushies, a Rubik's cube. I used a giant textbook as secondary wall to hide the unpolished map boundaries, and then I shifted the lighting to like a calm sunset to place, um, so that as the camera's following the derailed train, like it looks nicer and like a more calming vibe. And then I also added a pack of crayons. It was gonna be pencils and a cup, but I changed that because of my peer. He suggested something different to me, and overall, my layout demonstrates a strong use of like scale. I scaled a lot of stuff differently. I have a strong sense of scale. Like I know what to do when it comes to knowing what size things are, and I will continue refining it to keep it achievable. Thank you for listening to my devlog.